Alright. Hi everyone, welcome to the Samantha and Kevin Show with Samantha and Kevin. we had fun. Yeah, it was really good.
Disclaimer: the content in this video is for informational and entertainment purposes only. While we share personal experiences and insights on mindfulness, self-improvement, and personal growth, we are not licensed therapists, counselors, or life coaches. Everyone's journey is unique, and what works for us may not work for everyone.
I'm telling you.
We need your tea though.
I drank it all.
I don't even know what the camera is. Oh, but no.
I'm a tea sipper.
Tea sipper on a...
I'm not a tea sipper. You're sipping your tea. I'm a tea inhaler. I let it cool down just enough and then I just chug.
She chugged it. Well, yeah, we're going to just talk about stuff that we talk about normally, and when we have deep conversations. I do want to introduce us and say thank you again so much for watching. I also want to thank those who have been on the Jump Seat Therapy podcast episodes. Appreciate each and every one of you for everything that you do and for sharing your story and being vulnerable. I know it takes a lot to do that. Thank you for trusting me to be able to share your story. And I want to do it justice, and I hope I'm doing that. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. And for those who are watching, thank you. I appreciate you all so very much. So yeah, here we are, Samantha and I. One thing I really think we can talk about is how to get out of judgment, of judging something, and into courage. And the levels of that, I want to know all the levels before I really kind of dive into a lot of that.
I've been studying this a lot.
I think it's really fascinating from my life story and journey so far in spirituality and myself as a person. And yeah, so my existence in my world and the things I'm learning in a lower vibration me was about shame. I shamed myself in so many different areas of my life. And stepping out of that, I realized that I'm stepping into courage. I judged everything too, and it started with judgment, and then it went down to spirals of shame, right? But then stepping out of that, I think you was the one that kind of shared this with me, and I thought it was really fascinating because it goes into taking yourself out of shame and judgment, and now seeing things that you used to judge and used to shame yourself over, and step into courage to face those things, to move forward, and now correct the things that you feel like was so wrong, which I think wrong is a loose term too, because I feel like we put the kind of we create that idea of it being wrong or right, but with your values and who you are as a person, who you want to be and represent in the world when it comes to something positive and that feeling we all know about love and positivity, you face those negative vibrations with courage, and then you go up from there. Is there something you can kind of share in that a little bit? I think what we were talking about before. So
when you are in the now, and first you have to know what guilt and shame are. Mm-hmm. Those are when I understood those were the lowest vibrations you can be in, which are very dense and you're very, what's the opposite of energetic? Lazy,
low, and depression.
Depression. Yeah, when you're in guilt and shame, the lowest, that can show up in many different ways. But you can't discover how it's showing up in your life until you're present. And that's what I've been witnessing in my life. Like, I don't know what guilt and shame look like in my life until I'm in the present moment, and then things start to come up. Like again, the clutter. Oh, I could if I face that with shame in the moment, because it's all about how you show up in the moment too. You can be present but not show up in a way that's delightful because you're holding on to that ego, that side of you that has to have an identity.
Yeah.
So when you show up in the moment to get past to the next level, past guilt and shame and fear and doubt and all of that, to get to the place of courage, you have to face it from a place that's outside of your identity. When you face it from a place that's outside of your identity, now there's no judgment. Because your identity is what's judging it. So when I found the clutter in my room, I didn't face it with shame or guilt. Because I could have said, oh, I need to clean that up. I guess I'm going to do that one day. I don't know when. And it just can bother me. And I don't face it. So I just keep piling more and more and more. But when I faced it with no judgment, I acted as, well, I wouldn't say I acted. I was in the place of that nothing belongs to me.
Yeah.
I was like, nothing, not even the people I know, the places I've been, the things I've accumulated.
Your past.
My
your
past.
present,
And all these things have those energies, right? They have those past energies and the future energies.
Yeah.
So it doesn't belong to you. In the present moment is the only thing that belongs.
Yeah.
And when you're in that state, and you can see that outside of, and it's very hard to explain until you experience it, what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you just have to experience. When you're outside of that space, that you can, it's impossible.
Okay, I found this on the web for because when you're outside. Check it out.
Siri wants to be a part of the conversation too, apparently.
Welcome, Siri.
Thanks, Siri. That's great.
gosh.
It's in the moment.
Yeah.
It's present. It's what needs to be shared.
Yeah.
No, really kind of. I'm practicing that. Those things
I know.
that you said.
It's
We
just
wanted
those
to
things.
practice being like,
Yeah.
whatever comes up, like it may seem
Because
crazy
if that,
or
if
whatever.
that comes up and it irritates you, well, then that's a perfect example of that's something I need to explore in the present moment.
Why is it
that
irritating
irritating me?
Because it's the only thing you have control of.
Right.
It's the present moment.
Right.
Literally, why am I feeling this way?
And here's another kicker for
That's
me.
change.
I would hear, and I feel like I need to share this because I would often hear people talk about like manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I would meditate. This is the craziest thing because my meditation stemmed from I'm going to meditate so that I can manifest stuff.
Right. Like, I want my life to be
And
better.
so the power of trying to get something, what I just said it, manifestation. So manifestation has nothing to do with stuff. Because stuff has everything to do with your ego. I'm going to buy this new car because I want people to acknowledge that I bought this new car and I'm successful. That's my ego.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, if you're coming to a place in your meditation where that's where I was, stepping outside of that was stepping outside of all the things I had tied my identity to.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the sweet spot. Like, even the things that I didn't like about myself, like, oh my God, I was, I'm shy, people don't like me because I don't know how to talk to them. And that was huge shame and guilt. And that's why I don't have any friends, or that's why, these stupid things that we think of throughout the day that just keep, it's an accumulation inside your mind and inside your energy. And that's why they say, like, stuff is completely related to your energy, to you as a person, as your identity. So when you step outside of that, it doesn't have any power over you anymore, and now you're like, stuff does not, I don't need stuff to prove anything to myself or anyone else. I don't need stuff.
Which goes into another thought of stepping into your power. That's been something very strong with me lately, is stepping into your power. What does that mean? What does that look like? And that's it right there, is you're kind of stepping out of those insecurities of yourself and knowing that they aren't what you are. You're so much more than that. Like, you're in the now, like you just said, like, it doesn't belong to me. All these things don't belong to me. Guilt, shame, all those feelings even don't belong to you. And you come from that space of, I guess almost nothingness, but just like
it is kind of like that.
Being in the now. It's like all you have, and you can create from there and move forward in the direction that you want to do, because that's how we create a reality.
Yeah.
We create it every time.
If you look at
all the time.
everything, so we have these lights behind us, we have the plant, we have, this little stuff. It's because being in the now, you're manipulating what's in your present moment. And that's how the future unfolds.
Yeah.
By being in the now, the future can unfold, and then that's also how the past unfolds.
Yeah.
Everything you do in the present is going to create a future in your past. Everything. And when you start to understand that I have the power to change, because if I'm in the present moment, of course you do. Yeah. And when you can stay in that power, the longer you can stay in the power of the now, the more you can accomplish. And you're going to accomplish things you didn't even know you could accomplish, because it's kind of like that energy is now moving you, not your density of this physical realm.
Well, because
like, you can't change physical with physical.
Another thing with the power of now is that it's unlimited.
Yeah.
It's unlimited possibilities. What is the infinite now? I like that term because it's like so the infinite now. Being in the now, you can see all the different avenues you can take. Just so being present in the moment, being in the now, says, how do I want this to look? Where do I want to go?
Yeah.
Where do I want to go from here? So, and we do that by facing things in our past, but not reliving the past.
Right.
But
just facing it with that childlike curiosity. I think when I take that childlike curiosity when I face these things, and especially since I work with children, it's easier to have that perspective because I can kind of see their perspective on a daily basis. So when I tap into their perspective, it reminds me that I had that perspective once.
Yeah.
That childlike curiosity. And so when you can face the things that you're ashamed of or the things that you feel guilty about, and you face it with that childlike curiosity, like it has no identity to it. It's just, it is what it is. And you face emotions like that. And then you're like curious. And then you start to see other people and the way they're doing their emotions, and then you become curious about their emotions and why they're doing things.
Be the observer again.
You're being an observer again. When you start putting it on other people, you're not judging them because you're facing it in yourself now. You're shedding the light on shame and guilt in yourself. So when you see other people going through it, you have compassion. You're just like, I have that too.
As you've given yourself compassion.
Right.
That's
so
part
it goes
of
back
the
to
courage.
Yes, compassion, and then it goes up from there. Because when you're talking to someone, for example, just having a conversation, and they start getting upset, my first reaction is, what did I do? What did I do? I didn't mean to hurt you. What did I do? I'm so sorry. But it has nothing to do with me. But also, it has everything to do with me. That's the craziest part when you understand it's something going on within them that's revealing to me something going on within me.
Yeah.
And when you start to face that, we don't want to face that. Because I got to this place where I'm like, I don't like people in my space. Why don't I like people in my space? I like to be alone. I love being in solitude. And I started facing that, like, why don't I like people in my space? There's only certain people that I allow in my space, and those are the people that I can talk deep with and that get it, get the perspective that I'm coming from, or at least are trying to.
Yeah.
And then I was like, why do I not like other people in my space, certain people? And when I started facing that, it all had to do with my insecurities. Things that I was insecure about. Every single thing. Like, I don't like to make eye contact. I don't like to touch people. I don't like to, get into their space either. And I'm like, I feel very uncomfortable and self-conscious. And when I started facing that, I started realizing I'm a very insecure person. Why am I so insecure? Because I have an ego I have an identity insecurity of my space, my solitude. There's an identity there that I want to hold on to. Yeah. So I just started to let that go. Like, okay, I don't, that doesn't bother me anymore. Then I started seeing that it bothers everyone. Everyone has their moments. Even the most extroverted person still doesn't like certain things being in their space. And then that's the point where they have to ask themselves, why does that make me feel this way?
Yeah.
Is that making sense? I don't know if I'm like saying it to make sense or like...
I'll add some stuff to it.
You can add some stuff. I don't know how to voice that all the way.
I think it's really interesting and very bold of you to be able to express that and realize that in yourself, because what you're doing is recognizing your flaws but facing them with compassion. And when you do that for yourself, you then have that for other people. It just overflows. It just naturally happens. Because the more you do it for yourself, because we're all mirrors and reflections of each other.
We are.
So when you look at that and you think of that, what really kind of happens is, and like I say on my podcast a lot too, is I use it as a practice. Whenever I get frustrated over somebody and I'm like, oh my goodness, they're really annoying, or this, and this, I immediately now make it a practice to switch this thought in my mind, being in the now, being in the present, saying, what is this showing me right now? And I'll go and be like, oh, I do that too, or I have done that. And how can I now give myself grace? How can I now give myself compassion? How can I now step into the courage
that's good.
and say,
that's good.
How do I move forward in this? How do I reframe that now in my life? How do I now know that that doesn't belong to me? That was just an identity, like you said, of a past me that I, no longer really identify with. It's cool, actually, because, I've been editing a lot of the videos, previous videos, but Jason, our brother, talks about that. And I don't know if he was fully aware of it, but I want to post it soon because it's highlighting just the highlights of the episode. But I also strongly encourage to watch it too if you haven't. Is the episode with Jason on ego. But it's really just talking about how your sense of identity, because that's really the definition that we've all kind of created as a collective. What ego and all that means. It's just words that we tie to these things, but they're so important too when you think about it. It's how we're able to function. We're able to function. We created system. We programmed these things in our life. I don't really kind of change the subject, but maybe I thought this is really interesting. Something I'm learning now through my relationship with my husband and being able to understand where we fit in each other's life going forward with the dynamic in our lives now, because we're always apart a lot of the time. So when we come back together, we have to reconnect and rekindle our relationship. And, it's always changing, always evolving, and that's awesome. I love that in my life. But what's really interesting is with that concept of the now and all that kind of stuff too, I started recognizing things. If I'm just living my life to one idea, then I'm robbing myself of other people's perspective. I'm robbing myself of other angles to look at things for myself. It's like, like I said, I don't really like labels, because labels is just another term for me in my head that separates myself from everyone. So I don't like to consider myself gay, and I don't like to consider myself bi or whatever it is. Just to me, it's like
because it's where you're putting your identity in that, and now you're that. That's what you are,
right?
And that's not what any of it. We are not that. We are not that.
Then I've stripped those things away and really started listening to people, really listening to them and what they're saying.
Right.
All my biases aside, or my ideas aside, I see that's when I started painting that picture and started seeing that, you're giving me so much perspective that I've robbed myself of because of my own fear or whatever it was that I had to it.
The beauty of such variety. Like, that's why I love culture, because in culture, they think, believe, think, say, speak totally different. Taste, hear, smell, totally different than I do, because of the culture they're in. And I used to be so afraid, I don't speak that language, so I don't know how to talk to them or communicate, so it's awkward. Right, so we find it awkward, and then in those spaces we just seclude ourselves instead of gaining a perspective. And that's an obvious one showing up in when it shows up in like a culture, but when it shows up in like religion or in sexuality or those perspectives are harder to spot for one. And then when you spot them, you have to face something. If you're nervous about that, and that's another thing, you question yourself, like, why am I afraid to talk to a gay person? Why am I afraid that identifies as this, right? Why am I afraid to talk to somebody that's in this religion? Because I've found that a lot. Like, I'm afraid to go around certain religious mindsets
because of
what I was brought up in, right? And so, but then you find a place to connect in there. I can completely connect because I've been there. I was that. I'm not in that space anymore.
Because of the now.
Right.
So you reframed it.
And
now you're biased. You're no longer biased by those.
You're no longer biased, and now you can connect to those people wherever they are. You have no judgment, you have no bias, because you're in the now, meeting them where they are. And that's how we can share perspectives. And when you're listening to their perspective, they want to hear yours. That's the beauty of it.
It's fascinating because it's so funny because in this realm, we like to put ourselves above or below each other.
Yeah.
And we're not. We all get it. We all get it.
We're all already complete.
Yeah.
This is our journey to it.
Yeah.
This is our journey to that completeness.
And I also get that it was really interesting. I mean, I'm kind of bulldozy there, but like, it's going back again with the differences, being able to coexist with people's differences is what we're doing. And that I started doing, and I've recognized that with Jonathan.
I was going to say, it comes in a lot when you're in a relationship with somebody. It really presents itself to you. In
Totally. We're totally different people. Yeah. And for a while, we were wanting to separate. We wanted to go two separate directions. I can't wait to have him on the show because Jonathan's willing to kind of jump in and talk too, which is awesome because I think he's able to feel that comfort with me now. And I didn't realize that the very person I wanted to become in this world, which is living with people's differences, I was not creating. What I was creating was separation. What's already happening in this world. Right. I didn't realize I was literally still doing it.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Because, and what shocked me was something over, I'm not going to go into detail, but like it was something that we definitely disagreed on, right? And he was willing to like leave me for it. And that alone was something within myself I did too. And I said, whoa, the very thing I don't want in my field and energy where I want to go in my life, I am creating. Jonathan's not creating this. I am creating it. I'm creating the separation between us because I think, because I'm not letting my biases go. I'm not letting my past go. I'm not in the now. I'm so fixated on the past. And whether he is or not, like even if he wants to leave, he has every right to do so. However, the only person I can control is me. In this scenario, in this situation, so I had to learn to just be like, wait, this isn't an argument. This is a discussion that I can gain something from it.
And gain another perspective.
Right. Instead of just being like, oh, I'm right, you're wrong. Like that concept's got to go. It doesn't get you anywhere.
There's no such thing as right or wrong or good and evil. There's really we can try to justify, oh no, you can't tell me there's no such thing as good and evil and right or wrong. But you can tell yourself that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell yourself if you choose to live in a space, things will come into your space, but it's not a problem until it comes. And it's not even a problem when it's in your space. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
When a circumstance arises in your space, in that moment, when you're in the moment, you face it in the moment. It only becomes a problem when we're trying to fix it in the past or in the future. That's the problem.
Because it's not there. It doesn't exist.
It's not
right
there.
now.
It doesn't exist. So, like, in this present moment, and whoever watches this, in this present moment, you're watching it in the present moment, we're talking in the present moment, and there is if you're fully connected to that, there's no problem right now.
Yeah.
If you're watching this, there's no problem. You don't have to think about it. Stop and think about it. What's my problem right now?
Be in the now right now as you're listening.
What's your problem?
What's your problem?
I don't have one. Until... oh, well, I have a bill due next week I need to pay. I mean, hopefully I'll have enough money for that. Yeah. Now I'm creating a problem. Yeah. That doesn't exist. Right now. Right. It doesn't exist. Now when I get to that place in the future, it's still not a problem because I'm facing it with what's the wordage I'm trying to use here? You're facing it with being in the present moment. And it's in the present moment, it reveals everything to you. It reveals everything to you.
Where do I go from here in this
it's
moment?
Always taken care of. And if you look at your past, you're like, I was so worried about that. And look at it, I was taken care of. We both have been homeless before.
Uh-huh.
I was homeless before. I'm not now. And when I was homeless, I always had someone there to help me through it. I was taken care of. I really didn't even have a problem then.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. I just don't. Until you believe problems exist, they exist. Until you believe good and evil exist, it exists.
I'll add to it. It's what you create of it, what you make of it.
What you make of it. Yeah.
And that's the thing too. When I do look at my past, sometimes and how I've reframed it about being in the now is realizing that I made it worse than it actually was.
Made it worse, right? That's exactly the point I'm trying to make.
And you do it in the moment sometimes too. Like you're making the situation worse than it has to be because of your past or because of your future. So if you're just in the present without any of those things on your mind or on that space, is then learning to just be like, well, where do I navigate from here, go forward to what I want to create, which I want to create more of your happiness.
Because here's another thing.
Stepping into your power.
I like to say this term that I listen to someone that says this a lot, being your own drum, because a belief is a thought that you keep thinking. That's what a belief is. That just makes sense to me. A belief is a thought that you keep thinking.
Yeah.
So if you think, I'm poor, I don't have enough, I'm ugly, I'm not smart enough, I'll never be the person that people see me as, or people say I'm funny, I'm not funny. All of those things are things that we can bring into the present moment, and it's like beating that vibration is what I like to call it, that drum. And it's creating that vibration. I'm not good enough, 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 and that's what you believe because it's that thought. Until you can stop, and that's another thing where meditation comes in, it helps you stop those thoughts. So now they don't have any momentum. You stop beating that drum, it's not making a vibration anymore. There's no vibration because you stopped it in the moment. In that moment, I can say, nope, I'm not going to say I'm not good enough. And we can say it in many ways, but the essence of it is I'm not good enough. I'm lacking. I don't have what I want, what I desire right now, so I guess that means I'm never going to get it. You got to stop that momentum. Don't give that any more sound in your brain. Don't let it rattle around. You stop it, and then you change it. What do I want it to be? What do I want my life to be? I want to be abundant. I am, but I already am abundant. And in the now, you're like, I am. I have everything I need.
You start going into gratitude.
And then that's when you reach the state of gratitude. Yes.
I want to put that on here, I think, is that chart.
That's the chart, yeah.
Because it's still like popping up in my head as we talk, because it's literally what those steps take you to.
Those steps take you to it.
What do you want to create? I think it resonates with me because you and I have both been in a space where I didn't believe in anything outside of me. I stopped believing in any spiritual stuff. I stopped believing in a higher power, whatever, and went the negative direction. I used to just be positive and just always be positive, but then I wasn't experiencing anything. So the negative things taught me how to get in the now.
Because
to then go where I really want, which is the positive.
When you don't know what you want, that is the blessing. When you don't know what you want, or when you don't like where you are, and it's the what is that word? The contrast. It's a contrast. When you don't have something, now I know what I want. Now I know what I need. The contrast should be the thing that you are the most grateful for. Those down times should be what you are most grateful for because it showed you what you do want.
Absolutely. We can talk for a whole another hour or something, so I'm going to kind of dwindle it down a little bit. But I want to say thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Samantha and I also would like to know what you would like to see. So please like, subscribe, comment. Please comment. Share this with your friends. Share this with your family. We would love to hear your feedback. I want to know and I want to grow. I want to help us grow. And we couldn't do this without you. We totally cannot do this without you. It takes a village, So
it is.
I want to thank Samantha too, real quick, for helping me with the show. She's been helping me set up a lot of stuff. We did business before, so it's like we have a lot to share and a lot to work on and work together with and do this world. So I thank you, Samantha. For being a part of this with me, for you and your journey and your things in your life. I hope that this is kind of helping people feel like they're part of this for them and their journey in life. And so
that's the goal.
But just let us know what you would like to see and what you would like to hear from Samantha and I. We thought about trying to share things about the podcast, Jump Seat Therapy. We thought about sharing things like that. The episodes that we have, maybe that's a good idea, but just, I don't know, please let us know what you would like to see going forward. I'll leave that for now. Love you all so much. Love, peace, and unity. Oh, watch out! She'll eat you.
I eat you.
I eat you now.
I eat you now. Oh, I eat you now.
Oh!